Hey guys, here we go into a video on Teofimo Lopez, and the reason the video is called The Elephant in the Room is because elephants never forget. And most of this video is going to be based up on Teofimo's his ability to pick up on patterns and his ability to use the information that he has available to him to do amazing things in the fights, like this right here, this in particular, setting up that left hook, that beautiful shot, and then as well as setting up shots like this, that left hook that just obliterated his opponent. And in my opinion, Teofimo is a sensational fighter. This kid, I should probably look up how young he is just because of the fact that it's important to talk about, but this kid is leaps and bounds ahead of where most people his age are fighting. And we'll kind of talk a little bit about where he fits in the division in terms of the other champions in the division. To be honest, I don't know who they are except for Vasily Lomachenko. But we'll be talking about where he fits in the discussion of Vasily Lomachenko kind of at the end of the video. But before we do, I want to talk about basically all these highlights. And I have a separate video prepared to talk about that and to talk about how we got to all of these positions in the fight. And first off, one of the most important things that I preach in every video, a guy made the comment, Matthew, active guard Fouts. And that's what I want to talk about is Teofimo's active guard. Now, this is round one. Notice what does he do as soon as he comes out? He takes a shot at his opponent's gloves, right? Immediately controlling Magdaleno's lead hand to stop him from being able to use the space and to use his own rhythm, use his own head movement, use his own active guard to set punches up against Teofimo. He immediately establishes that control by attacking his lead glove. And look at how he shoots the gloves at him and starts feinting immediately. Notice how he's not stuck in one position. He doesn't have his hands stuck, glued to his head like most young fighters learn to fight until they get comfortable. But he's constantly giving his opponent different looks, feinting at him. And look at how he shoots the jab from so far away. Is he in range to be caught with a counter shot? Not really. But controlling the shots. And then after he sees how his opponent reacts, right, to the glove touching, look at how Magdaleno brings his glove up. Right? Now he's going to shoot that same jab, and he's going to go for a right hand to the body. Immediately, 12 seconds into the fight, committing to a huge punch to the body because he feels comfortable that he's picked up on a pattern of his opponent's defense. He's already picked up on the fact that his opponent is not trying to counterpunch him, that his opponent is just looking to move away, and he's already setting up punches to the body. And it's going to be very, very, very important in the future. But as you can see, he goes back to it and goes back to controlling the glove. We get to talk a little bit about defense in this scene. Magdaleno's goal looking to be shooting punches to the body, right? Jabs to the body to kind of set stuff up open later. But look at how when he shoots the jab, right, Magdaleno ducks, right, signifying that he's not going to be there for the straight right hand when it comes, much like in this sequence here where he shoots the jab. Wait, not there. Is it here? Right there. So he ducks down and moves away, right? And again, that's part of what Teofimo is seeing when he sees that Magdaleno is going to move off the line. So he's going to see it again, and he's going to be constantly seeing that Magdaleno is looking to get away from that straight right hand by moving off the line, moving his head. So Teofimo again says, okay, I'm going to keep going to the body. But look at how after he landed that easy right hand to the body, he feints him, takes a hard step, and then feints to the body to see if Magdaleno is going to pick up on the pattern of going to the body. So not only has he already identified an attack in the first round, right, based off of patterns, based off of his opponent's reactions, and his opponent expecting the right hand to come down the pipe after the lead hand, but he's already testing his opponent to see if he's going to counter the safe offenses that he's already found. Beautiful fighting. And this is 30 seconds into the fight, you guys. I know a lot of people aren't expecting a lot, or they're talking all this crap about Teofimo, and because the bar is set so high with Vasily Lomachenko. But this guy, you guys, I'm telling you, this guy is really something special. This guy is a phenomenal fighter, you guys. I'm not sure if I give him an A yet, you know, but as we see him being tested, you know, we're going to see more and more wrinkles of him. But I want you to know that I am massively impressed with this guy. But the next thing that we notice, right, the first defensive layer that we saw from Teofimo is controlling, right? Is feinting. He's constantly controlling his opponent. He's giving him different looks, feinting him on the gloves, touching his gloves, right? And now the offense that Magdaleno went with initially was a jab to the body. That was the first punch that Magdaleno threw. So the next time Magdaleno looks to throw a punch, he starts throwing the jab to the body as well. And Teofimo remembers this. Again, it's only 30 seconds into the fight. And he remembers this and immediately comes at him with a counter left hook. Now, it's not a hard shot, but to be honest, the technique here is so good, the way that he's able to kind of turn the shot over and catch him with it. Even though it's not a hard shot, he's able to catch him with the shot and start countering him. Again, only 30 seconds into the fight. Now, again, going back to the offense, right, shooting the right hand to the body and then feinting the right hand to the body to see if his opponent is changing his defensive layers, looking to start setting up counter punches. But that entire sequence going to the body, right, after that, he's seen that his opponent is moving away, right, from the body shot, right? So now he sees that he's leaning into the shot with his head and moving his body away. So he feints the right hand to the body, as you see in this instance when he flashes forward, and he throws a right hand to the head. Now, it doesn't land, right? But that's not the point. It's the fact that he understands that his opponent knows what he's trying to do. So he's using that information against him. He's using the patterns that he's created, the patterns that he's setting up, and he's constantly changing them on his opponent to create safer and safer offenses. And again, going back to the body shot because he knows his opponent's just taking steps back, and he continues to go to the body with the right hand. I'm not sure why those clips were in there twice, but moving back on. This is what I wanted to talk about here. So again, another pattern that he's picking up on, right? Look at how Magdaleno shoots the jab at him, and he starts coming forward, and he picks the glove off, right? He taps his glove with his lead hand to kind of pick it off, and then Magdaleno again shoots the jab here, and he picks it off with this lead hand, right? Shooting the jab, controlling him, and now the jab comes out a little faster. He tries to pick it off, but now he sees that the straight left hand is coming, right? Magdaleno actually he's the victim of his own pattern recognition, as Magdaleno switches the pattern up from him, from just touching the lead hand, to flashing it in, getting his opponent to touch the lead hand with him, and then going with the left hand, his own left hand over the top, and catching him. And immediately, Teofimo says, okay, that lead hand's coming, right? I missed it, and he knows the straight left hand is coming after it, so he takes a step back. It doesn't come, but immediately you can see in this instance, he makes a mistake there, and he says, okay, got to get the timing on that, and starts preemptively taking steps back until he can get the timing off of it and pick it up, you know, immediately making an adjustment in that regard. And then going back to shooting the jabs, and now this is the beautiful part, right? This is the amazing part of that, and why that catch and counter style was so effective. Because as you can see here, shooting the jab, Lopez catches it. Shooting the jab, Lopez catches it. Shooting the jab, Lopez tries to catch it, eats a shot, continues to time on that lead hand. But now we have Magdaleno coming forward, flashing the lead hand, right? And immediately Lopez catches it and says, okay, if he's going to throw the left hand, I'm going to throw my own right hand, and then starts catching him with the catch and counter style. And as you see, it looks like Magdaleno was going to throw that straight left hand, but that's how he set that beautiful shot up, is catching the timing on the lead hand of his opponent. And there's a reason why it's so effective, is because Magdaleno likes to lean forward on that front foot before he explodes off. And I think we'll talk about that a little later. But off of this same timing, the one that got him caught earlier, right? Catch the jab, right? Catch the jab. Try to catch the jab. he's able to turn it into real offense by timing his opponent's jab here, and then immediately going into a right hand right after. It's just beautiful boxing, you guys. It just doesn't get any better than this, to be honest. Understanding what your opponent's doing and looking to take advantage of every pattern and every mistake that your opponent gives you. And then it gives you, open you up for really fast and fun stuff like this, the really explosive stuff. But moving on, again, the same timing as you watch Magdaleno. He catches the jab, and now Teofimo's catching it with both gloves and then going in with his right uppercut. Now, the reason that he's going with the uppercut here this time is because the right hand almost missed because Magdaleno was moving his head off the line. So immediately in the second round, he starts making an adjustment there. And then he goes into the next one. Again, now going back, sorry. So watch Magdaleno as he rocks forward. And then as he's rocking forward, Teofimo's able to see that shot coming. And now Teofimo just baits it, catches it, and then goes right into the uppercut. But it's all based off of the timing that he has on Magdaleno. As you can see, now just watch Magdaleno as he moves forward, and he steps with the jab every time. It's very easy to time him because he explodes out of his guard. He doesn't have, he's not feinting a lot, and he just kind of gives this stuff up to Teofimo. And the amazing part is, you guys, Teofimo knows what to do with this information. That's the part that's amazing, you guys. He's young. I still think he's a little green. But for being 21 years old or however old he is, with only 12 fights now, this kid is phenomenal. But again, beautiful. And then more offense, again, coming in with the right hand. He's able to time Magdaleno off of his own jab, coming with more counters. And then we have this shot, right? And I'm not sure if you guys know what's going on here, but he flashes the shot, shoots the right hand to the body, and then baits him into trying to counter him with the left hook, or with the right hook, so he can land his own left hook. And we're going to kind of talk about how we got there. Again, Magdaleno is phenomenal with his pattern recognition and knowing what to do with the information. And we're going to go through the sequence of that knockdown, or that knockout, rather. But as you see, as we talked about earlier in the fight, Magdaleno did a lot of right hands to the body. And as you see here, he continues to go to the body. And this is the first time that Magdaleno starts to set up a counterpunch off of it, looking to kind of capitalize on the fact that Teofimo is transferring all his weight into that right hand. But as it moves forward, again, beautiful. So the first time that Magdaleno sets up a counterpunch off of it, he shoots with the jab, right? And now Teofimo says, okay, I see what you're doing. So he shoots a fake right hand to the body. Magdaleno ducks to get it out of the way, right, to block it. And then he looks to counterpunch with them. And Teofimo catches him with a beautiful left hook. That is nearly identical to how he knocks him down in the 6th round to hurt him. As you can see, he's doing it in the 3rd round as well. Just beautiful pattern recognition. But as you see here, this is how the fight basically plays out. He uses this same technique on him over and over again, and Magdaleno begins to start setting up his own counters. And Magdaleno does a decent job of moving off the line, getting out of the way of the counters, or controlling his opponents. But here we see Magdaleno trying to stay in position with the right hand so he can come back with his own left hand counter. But because he threw that right hand to the head, Magdaleno doesn't look to counter it at all. So he shoots one to the body, and now he does get Magdaleno to counter him. So, of course, Teofimo, being a very smart fighter, starts picking up on this. Now, this is contrary, right? Because he does throw a headshot right there, but Magdaleno does counter. But for the most part, that's one of the only instances in which a headshot comes that he looks to counter them. As you can see, going to the body again, and Magdaleno looks to counter him with the jab, and he controls him with his own shot, and then catches him with another left hook right there. I'm not sure if that one lands, but you can see the hesitance when he throws the right hand as he shifts and moves off the line, that he's baiting Magdaleno here with the constant right hands to get Magdaleno to counter him. He's looking to open him up with those counters. And as you can see, he's not fully committing to the shots. He's staying in a position where he can move off the line. And then beautiful timing his jab. I don't know why I kept that in there. But as you can see, Magdaleno's not really looking to counter him when he throws the right hand to the head. And Magdaleno using a bit of great defense right there. In spite of the fact that he looks like he's wildly out of position, after he shoots that right hand, he ducks, controls his opponent, and then moves off the line, preventing any counters. But what we can see here is Teofimo has been using that right hand to the body, that easy offense, to continually find ways to open his opponent up. As you saw in the beginning of the fight, he used the jab to get him to bring his hands up, to catch the jab, and then he would throw the right hand to the body. Now he's using the right hand to the body, boom, to set up this beautiful left hook right here, which actually drops Magdaleno. And all of that was set up continually through the fight by throwing right hands after the jab, right? Seeing what his opponent is going to do, and then shooting the right hands to the body, as you saw here. And I kind of skipped over that. But he shoots the right hand to the body, right? And immediately, Magdaleno tries to counter, because you can tell that every time the body shot comes, Magdaleno is looking to counter him with a right hook to the head. So what does he do? Shoots one to the head again, no counter. So he comes in, shoots a jab, shoots a right hand to the body, and notice that he doesn't commit to the right hand, right? All his weight goes to his left leg, but he's immediately transferring his weight back from his left leg to his right leg with the right hook, or with the left hook, immediately setting this trap for Magdaleno and just, landing a beautiful shot. And one of the most amazing things, in my opinion, is his ability to use that information and continue adding layers onto his offense, right? The right hand stops being as effective because Magdaleno starts countering it. So what does he do? He baits the counter out of him and then catches him with the left hook. It's just beautiful boxing, you guys. And now the last part that I want to talk about is the actual left hook, the leaping left hook that he landed on Magdaleno, and how he landed that punch. We're going to kind of talk about it, but I just want you to watch Magdaleno as he moves forward and he rocks forward. And every time he rocks forward, whoops, why are those in there? Every time he rocks forward, how Lopez is controlling him with his lead hand, right? And Magdaleno likes to shoot his jab off of a timing, but one of the most important things, and that's what I was talking about. Whoops, went too far back. As he's going forward, Lopez likes to shoot his jab, right? And he steps with his jab, even though he's not on position. But look how he steps with his jab, and he shoots it, and Magdaleno looks to touch gloves with him, right? And he shoots the jab, and look at how Magdaleno's glove comes away from his face to block it, right? That opens up this sequence right here, which Lopez starts using in the third round, where he steps forward, and Magdaleno looks to try to touch gloves with him and control that lead hand, but he doesn't realize that he's opening himself up for that left hook that Magdaleno starts landing as early as the second round based off of that timing. As you can see, he rocks forward and touches gloves with them, right? Controlling that lead hand, he steps forward, right? Magdaleno doing a good job of ducking what he thinks might be a straight right hand after he gets put out of position. But you can see that Lopez is shooting that jab at the glove of Magdaleno, and Magdaleno's trying to catch it and prevent it from blocking him or prevent his glove from being controlled. But as you can see, boom, again, he's nowhere near in position because he thinks it's always going to be a jab. He's nowhere in position to block that lead left hand from him because Lopez has used patterns to set it up throughout the course of the entire fight, all the way up until we get to the part where the actual knockout comes, and he leans forward, and as he steps forward, he tries to touch gloves with him. You can see Magdaleno's glove as he steps forward. He tries to catch that glove and winds up eating that beautiful left hook from him. And then the second one, he's just already out on his feet. But it's a beautiful performance from Teofimo in a fight in which he dominated a veteran. A fighter, for all intents and purposes, is actually a pretty good fighter. He's a fantastic test. He's very difficult. He's very cagey. He has that great active guard. He's not one to be sitting there and be hit. And Teofimo dismantled him with superior boxing, with superior understanding of all the things that are important in a fight. Now, It is easier to do this stuff against a southpaw when you're an orthodox fighter, simply because these ideas are more common. People understand that controlling the lead hand is much more important. However, I had to go and watch one of Teofimo's right-handed fights, and these are tactics, the active guard, the control of the lead hand, the feinting. These are tactics that he uses in his right-handed fights as well. And I think that he is a fantastic fighter. I think that he has all the tools, he has all the skill, just maybe a little more experience. As you saw, he did get caught with that straight left hand early in the fight against Magdaleno. He did make great adjustments after, moving away from the left hand at first, and then saying, okay, he's looking to set up the 1-2, and then switching to that beautiful catch and counter style that he started using to land some really, really impressive shots, like this one right here. Boom, catch and counter style, based off of that same timing, based off of that same pattern recognition, based off of that same glove touching, and it's just fantastic. You know, it was just a beautiful effort from him. He did such a fantastic job of setting these shots up, and again, off of his opponent trying to control the space with that lead hand and those patterns, breaking those patterns on him, and putting him in a position to land beautiful shots like this, you guys. And again, beautiful shots like that, you know, trusting that his opponent is going to do what he remembers him doing. And that's the part that's most impressive about me, is the amount of trust that he has in his training, the amount of trust that he has in the patterns that he's picked up. So much so that sometimes he's going to eat a punch, you know, like he did like I was talking about Magdaleno landing that first straight left hand. But that's what you need to have when you fight. A lot of people talk about it in boxing, you know, and there's a guy at the gym that I train at right now. Some young kid was talking to him about why he's so successful in the amateurs, and I guess the guy won some national championship. And he was talking, and I'm listening to this guy talk to this young kid. He's like, you got to go in the ring. You got to trust yourself. You got to not trust yourself. You got to know that no one can beat you. You got to step in there and think no one can beat you. Nothing, no one can, you know, all this like garbage. To be honest, it was horse shit. You know, if you go into the ring thinking no one's going to beat you, you're probably going to get knocked out, you know. But trusting your training, trusting the things that you've learned, and trusting that you're going to execute them correctly, and that trusting that they work, and that trusting that you're going to make the proper adjustment so that you know how to make an adjustment, or that you even know what an adjustment is. Thinking about that stuff in the ring, and that's having confidence, right? Don't ever go into the ring thinking that no one's going to beat you. No one can beat you. It's a chess game, right? It's a game, you know? You're constantly thinking and reevaluating and setting traps. And if you think that you're too smart for a trap, for someone to break a pattern on you, you're living, you're surrounded by fool's gold. You know, there's something wrong, you know, because there's gonna be someone who knows more about you, more about boxing than you. You're gonna fight them, but having what Teofimo has, a confidence in your training, a confidence in your skills, a confidence in your knowledge of fighting, your knowledge of pattern recognition, your knowledge of making adjustments and making the correct moves and counters to what your opponent is giving you, that is probably the most important part of it, is trusting your training and making sure that you train in a way that you can utilize these techniques. If you just go into the gym every day and you work on the same thing every day, my golly, you're going to be real good at that one thing. But what the fuck else are you doing? What else are you doing with your time? What else are you doing to get good? To be responsible for yourself in the ring. Because that's what it is. You have to be responsible for your actions in the ring. You can't say, oh, I'm tired this day, or I had a shoulder problem this day, or I had this. That's bullshit, you know? And I'm full of my own bullshit too. When I go train, man, I get fucking so tired and I'm having shoulder problems or whatever, you know? But that doesn't stop you from thinking in the ring. That doesn't stop you from setting up patterns and landing shots, you know? Your own mental instability is what does that. And that's what I think is the most important thing about Teofimo Lopez, is his mental stability. How strong he is mentally to set these traps up, to constantly be thinking and reevaluating, and to have a game plan. And that's the idea behind, you know, people talk about like a very patient fighter, right? He was very patient throughout the fight, landing that right hand to the body. He's like, okay, eventually he's going to give me something else. And when he gives me something else, I'll take that. But until he does, I'll just keep racking up points and racking up body shots. And that's what he did all the way until Magdaleno started countering the right hand to the body, trying to take that tool away from him, trying to take that free form of offense away from him. And then Magdaleno says, okay, now I have this free form of offense, which is the left hook, because you're putting yourself out of position to block it by countering the right hand. And all he had to do was bait it. Very, very, very simple, right? Very, the real basics of boxing. The real basics, not throwing a 1-2 and all that garbage, But anyway, as far as him versus Lomachenko, I don't know how big Teofimo Lopez is in comparison to Lomachenko. Maybe he's really big. But as from a skills standpoint, I think that Lomachenko, definitely knows more about boxing than he does. But from an athletic standpoint, there's no one like Lomachenko. But I think that Teofimo is looking to prove himself as a close second. Some of the fancy moves that he was throwing around, the really cool, little dips and these motions, right? The catch and counter, right? His ability to switch stances and shift forward, shoot those shots, move, angle, slip, like all that stuff is really fancy stuff. The practical application of it, like this is one of the most beautiful punches in the whole fight. His opponent is pressuring him. He catches him with the right hook to get him out of position, and then catches him with that short left hook right there. This whole sequence is just brilliant. Just the catch and counter style, how he's constantly catching him with those shots, just amazing. On top of the pattern recognition. Now the question is, does Teofimo Lopez hit as hard as Jorge Linares? Because the counter shot that caught Linares, or that caught Lomachenko, wasn't even that hard of a shot, but it was able to put him down. It was great timing, right? Great pattern recognition from Linares. And if Teofimo Lopez can stay composed, if he can keep the mental going, I definitely give him a shot to beat Lomachenko, to give Lomachenko a run for his money. Because what we're seeing in this kid are real boxing skills, you guys. A real understanding of what's going on in the ring versus what a lot of fighters go into and just, go in there, throw 1-2s and look for an opening. Go in there, throw 1-2s and hope that you get your opponent out of position when you throw your 3. Go in there, throw 1-2s and wear him down, And you don't have that from Teofimo Lopez. He's looking to exploit your patterns. He's looking to exploit everything that you're doing and land a big shot. And that's the difference between a fighter, I'll say, well, I don't want to say any other names, but that's one of the things that for any flaws that Magdaleno has, or not Magdaleno, that Lopez has, his punching power and his ability to set patterns, pick up patterns, and land big punches. Because, you guys, look at this punch. Look at what it did to him. And then to land this shot. To set these shots up throughout the course of the fight, right? By touching his glove, getting him to extend his lead hand so that you can land a leaping left hook, and to trust that you're going to land it. And look at how he turns that shot over. All the way over. Boom. All the way over. That's a really special fighter, you guys. Anyway, like I said, elephants never forget. And Teofimo Lopez doesn't forget a pattern. You're not going to be able to trick him very many times. And I really, really, really look forward to him fighting more stiffer competition, fighting bigger fights, because I really want to see a lot out of this kid. He just became one of the fighters that I will never miss a fight of. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think about him fighting, Lomachenko. Obviously, this guy has some, defense work. I didn't, he kind of dominated Magdaleno, so I didn't really get to look at his defense aside from his counter punching, which was decent. He doesn't, the one sequence where he shoots the right hand and then controls him. There are very few scenarios like that, so it's hard to give him a grade in that regard. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below and where you expect this kid to be. And if you guys disagree, if you guys don't see what I see or feel the way that I feel, let me know. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and all that jazz. Thanks, guys.